good. That's good. I'm Zay. That's Britt. That's Britt. I'm Zay, and we are back. We are back. BG Podcast, episode. I don't know. I don't want to put a number on this one. We'll put a number when the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, welcome back again. Keep saying welcome.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Like, we never coming back.
Right.
Well, just know that you're appreciated. Thank you for being here and listening.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Listen to us talk. I don't know why people listen to us talk. Yeah, that shit.
We know more than some. Shit.
I guess.
The fuck? We know more than some. No, we're just learning things and sharing our knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Little reading rainbow for y'all. Okay.
Right. The more you know.
Ways to go. Reading rainbow. Okay.
All right. We got a topic for you guys. Britt came up with this topic, and it is, why do we experience emotions? And I think people always talk about emotions, but they don't really try to figure out the root cause of them and how they're beneficial. It's always just I don't know. Then nobody ever dives deep into it. You know?
Everybody's very Carl Thomas with it.
Yeah. Say goodbye.
I'm emotional. And
I
can't let go. Just all depressed and sad.
Right.
There are
Straight
some
up.
good emotions, but yeah,
up.
usually when we're irritated with our emotions, they're not the good ones.
Yeah, and nobody dives deeper into it to figure out why are they necessary.
Yes. Why?
You know, I remember you ever I know you have, but
What?
you got your heart broken.
Oh, hell yeah.
I experienced that really late in the life, and I remember you were one of the first people I talked to when it happened. I'm like, yo, your heart hurts,
Right? The pain.
right? Ow,
Ow.
right. So that's
You want to know another thing on the flip side? You just made me think about it. So, especially when you meditate, you're supposed to feel it in your heart. And if you're just sitting here, I'm so out of the loop. I have not been meditating. I have not been aware of anything, not even my breathing. I'm just here, just moving,
Mm-hmm.
And I can't feel my heart right now. If I'm breathing, if I do a deep breath in, I don't feel anything flowing into my heart unless I'm
You dead, nigga?
I feel a little bit. I feel a little dead inside right now.
You're dead inside.
But you have to consciously think about it. As you meditate more and be more aware, you always kind of feel, just because that's that the inner joy. You just always just always breathing out, just positivity. I don't feel like that right now, but just as you were saying, you felt the pain, you can also feel a lot of joy in your heart. So I think that's interesting. Just our heart feelings.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ooh, maybe that's something we can look into later.
What's that? Just how it manifests physically?
The connect, the heart. Maybe I'm getting a little too deep now, because they always say everything stems from your brain. A lot of stuff goes on in your heart too, besides just pumping blood. There's
true.
Yeah, there's
true.
other things that cause the bodily reactions that happen in your heart, psychological things or whatever.
Well, hold on. I got something to add to that.
What?
Not just your heart, but even your stomach, your macrobiome in your stomach, and how that affects your emotional state.
Mm-hmm.
I've came across some information that's crazy, that'll make you really try to figure out what's going on with what you're putting in your body as far as food and stuff that, and how that might be affecting mood, and how the gut feeling, that gut feeling that people talk about, that's a legitimate thing.
Our organs are alive.
Yeah, pretty much, right? All right,
Cool.
so back to emotions.
Yes.
Right.
The basis. Yeah. Okay. We are
basis.
covering the basics on this topic, because if we don't cover these basics, the future things that we look into aren't going to make any sense. So we got to get basically the general vocabulary out there. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, from an evolutionary standpoint, emotions may signal a change in environment. Emotions also function to get our attention and demand a response. They're motivators, triggers that compel us to react, agents of change and reaction. Disgust. If something's nasty, you react to it because that's something that might make us sick. Anger is a reaction to the possibility of confrontation. Fear is a reaction to a dangerous situation. So they can either motivate us to change or continue what we're doing. So if we're experiencing sadness, kind of want to get out of that sad state. But if we're experiencing joy, kind of want to stay there as long as possible. Humans are the most self-conscious animals, but what comes along with being self-conscious is the need for survival. Other animals develop some basic emotions, but they haven't developed more complex rational systems, which ultimately determine their place in the hierarchy for the food chain.
Under our boot.
Yeah. Under our rule.
Under our boot. Let me stop.
Right. All right, so you
look, and I wonder
if
that can even get called into question nowadays. Like,
what you mean?
Have you ever seen like how emotional like cows are? How they're kind of like they're like really sweet and cuddly and shit, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know they had those types of emotions.
Yeah, I saw a video and it was like a cow that's like been inside for dumb long, like they were breaking some sort of farming laws or whatever, and it finally got out. Bruh, he was having a blast. He was just running
kicking
around.
Them with legs.
Yeah,
I think I
kicking
saw that one.
Legs.
Yeah, cows are like super sweet. I was like, I had no idea. All right. So
you did some more scientific research on this, so you can explain the area of the brain that controls emotions. So this is Britt. This is Britt. Britt
Knox, the science fox.
That's ill. That ain't it.
The science fox. As I just said, the animals
fox
are beneath us. Yeah.
Right.
I gotta be a human. Bill,
get back under that boot.
Bill. Get it back under the boot.
Bill.
Yeah,
all
that
right,
was the show.
That was.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not even a scientist.
I know. It's just it's a lot going on with that. I was like, really? We've been lied to.
Right.
Straight up lied to. And now they go to him for professional like opinions and shit too, which is so ridiculous.
What are your
He's a fucking actor, and y'all are having him on CNN asking him what he thinks about global warming. I mean, I guess, but that's America. Anyway. All right. So, the area of the brain that controls emotions is called the limbic system. You can find the structures of the limbic system buried deep within the brain. So, it's not in the middle, but it's kind of like the lower middle. So, it's right above the brainstem and under the cerebral cortex. So the brainstem is, the part that goes down to your spine. So it's right above there. So right in the, the back of your head. So the major structures of the limbic system are called the hippocampus and the amygdala. Now the hippocampus comes as a pair. We have two sides of our brain, so one on each side. And it resembles the shape of a curvy seahorse. So that is essentially the memory center of our brains. So here is where our memories are pretty much stored and filed away. And I guess we can pull other pieces of it throughout the cerebral cortex, but that's the main part, the little file cabinet. The hippocampus is the file cabinet. All right. So connections made in the hippocampus also help us associate memories with various senses. So the association, for me anyway, between like the scent of apple cinnamon candles and Christmas, like that would be created there. Now, I don't know about you guys, but apple cinnamon candles can only be burned in the fall or Christmas time for me. Like I can't burn that in the summer because it just smells like Christmas, and I just get confused. I don't like it.
Yo, mine. I remember like elementary school. Like when it was chicken nugget day. Like chicken nugget day, the fumes like coming in. It wasn't even good chicken nuggets. That joint was just like, that joint was some I don't even know what they make chicken
kids,
nuggets.
It's just chicken nuggets are the best.
Yo, did you ever see it was like a chef trying to show kids what they're eating, And
yes, they didn't get
bruh. So he takes like all these pieces of chicken, like all the pieces you don't want, the bones, and he grinds it up. And as he's grinding it up, the kids are like, ugh, nasty. All the parts of the chicken you don't want, like, ugh, nasty. Right? Then he takes it out. He forms a little patty, puts a little bread on it, and then
fried it
he's
up,
like, he was like, fried it up. He was like, now who wants to eat that? Every last one of them kids raised their hands, son.
Hell yeah! I was thinking, like, I looked at it too. I was like, yeah, me too.
Right. I still monster. I still throw down on some McDonald's chicken nuggets, yo.
Oh my gosh, yo.
Those are beak wings, yo.
Yo,
Made out of 100% beak.
Right? The other day, I took Shady McDonald's. He wanted a fucking McFlurry, and I told him, I said, don't get your hopes up. You know, that machine always broken.
Yeah, we need to get to the bottom of that.
Anyway, the machine was broken, and, you know, he's like, man, come on. I was like, I told you. Anyway, he got some nuggets, because he was like, well, he wanted me. I was like, F it, whatever. I got him some nuggets. I never take him to McDonald's. We go probably 3 times a year. So I got him some nuggets. And he was like, you want this last one? Like, it just tastes like nothing. And I'm like, what? McNuggets pop. What you talking about? Let me get that junk. So I eat it. It literally tasted like nothing. I was like, ew.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe the day came. I finally said these nuggets is nasty. Maybe they put, I don't know, a little salt or something. They changed the recipe.
Hold on, but what sauce
Sweet and sour,
did you use,
nigga.
Joe?
Sweet and sour. It had no flavor. It was weird. Anyway, we were getting way off topic.
Nah,
Fuck
keep
McDonald's.
Going. Keep going.
All right. The hippocampus is also important for spatial orientation and our ability to navigate the world. So just knowing how to walk straight up, you know, not falling over when you walk. I guess you kind of learn that when you're a baby, right? You know, how babies got to learn how to get their balance. And also not, you know, knowing not to walk too close to the end of the bed where you can clip your little ankle.
Yeah.
That little ankle bone.
I think it's crazy how, you know, it's responsible for like physical spatial recognition, but it's also like where we file away long-term memories that we can access. So like, it's kind of like this allows us to imagine our past and our future selves.
Yeah.
So like,
doing all that shit subconsciously.
Yeah, subconsciously. So like, in order to have the ability to access past and future selves, it opens the doorway for self-reflection. So unlike primitive and more basic emotions we share with other primates, we're capable of experiencing what they call moral emotions like pride, guilt, embarrassment, shame.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Shame. These tend to emerge after self-reflection, which supports a theory that emotions are a result of self-evaluations. Like, there's like an ongoing debate of whether emotions are a result of self-evaluation or we're just born with them. You know, it's just a learned behavior.
Well, I mean, like you said, they broke them. Like, they have moral emotions, and I'm sure they have different categories of emotions. So, of course, you're born with, I guess, you know, some simple ones. But like you said, pride, guilt, embarrassment, like, you can be born with that. Baby, come out. I'm naked. Shame, I'm embarrassed. Cover me out.
Yeah.
I'm naked.
But I think But I think like what they're like getting to is we have the ability to imagine ourselves in the future and store stuff from the past. So like, unlike other animals, like, we don't know, they don't know, they can't determine whether those animals are born with emotions.
I know you're talking about humans. I didn't know you're talking about animals.
Well, just in comparison, for comparison's sake.
What's the argument again? What'd you say?
The argument is whether like we're born, whether we just react emotionally, or like emotions, our reactions with our emotions are triggered from outside influence or not.
Well, yeah, some of them are, some of them aren't. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. I didn't do it.
Stop down their argument. Get that shit out of here. Kick. Punt that.
No, I don't think you're an expert, but
no, I didn't say I was an expert, but I mean, come on, people want to make arguments just to make arguments, just to write articles. Sometimes I feel like it's like, well, you look it up. Well, I mean, you just wrote it out, so you're the fucking expert. I'm going off of your data. I know.
Well, that's why it's my fault. It's my fault. I should have read more into it.
No, you're fine. I'm just saying. I see. You know me. I always find articles, and I'm always like, well, this is stupid. But I'm saying, like, just off of the data that you gave me, I can just get their little argument out of here. Anyway, keep going.
All right. So, moving on. Mental illness is often a result of excess emotion. So emotions fuel most psychological orders like phobias, anxiety, trauma, hoarding, drug, alcohol abuse, all that stuff. But what I get from that is emotion triggers a response. But we've also evolved to be able to self-reflect to address whatever it is. So it's only until we ignore these triggers and don't respond appropriately, they manifest themselves into something more detrimental.
Yeah. So I guess that's like, I guess as they use the terminology, suppressing your emotions. Mm-hmm. I guess that plays into that, and how people use things like drug and alcohol to suppress emotions so they don't have to address them. So
yeah, we do a lot of things that mask the root issue when we don't want to deal with it or confront the things that are bothering us.
True. And like the phobias, how people
to cope.
Right.
Coping is not a good thing.
Right. And like the different phobias, like you said too, I know people are like, I'm terrified of birds. And it's like, I know something happened to you before with a bird. You're going to be afraid of birds your whole life.
Yeah.
Let me not laugh at people's phobias, because I'm freaking terrified of roller coasters. So, and I can't get
Are you really?
I cannot get over it. I hate drops. I don't care about going upside down, none of that. Just the dropping, that feeling in your stomach, it feels like death. I hate it.
You know that's like your organs, like your stomach lifting up.
Yeah, I can feel it. It doesn't feel fun. I hate it. I'm like, how do people like this?
You know what's funny?
What?
We're like, you always like this?
Hell yeah. I've always, I keep trying and I can't get over it. I'm done trying.
Yeah,
even like on a plane, if it drops a little bit, like I lose my shit. Like I will grab strangers. Like, I'm sorry. Like I can't help it. I just tense up and
Yeah, I feel you.
Like my heart rate just went up. Think about it. Like I can watch, them
palms
videos.
Are sweaty. Your palms are
no, they really are. You know them people that they showed like the videos of people like on the roller coasters and passing out and shit. Like I rarely laugh because I'm like, yo, that would be me. Like
that's real. You know what gets me? Those Russian guys that be on top of buildings doing backflips on the edge. I can't.
I used to have a really bad fear of heights. But I can get over that. I just can't get over the falling shit. Like that's my number one fear, the falling. We went to something called One Liberty Observation Deck. And it's like one of those things, you go to the top and you can see the whole city. They have that down at Liberty Place now.
Okay.
And
Liberty Place in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, right there on 16th and Market.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go up to it's not even like that high, but it's high enough. I don't know what floor it was. I want to say it was like 60 or 70. I don't remember how many. I mean, it's high enough. Maybe it was 60 floors. I don't remember. But we had already went out drinking. Me and Bree. Like, why would I drink before doing this? I thought it would help. So we were going, just on a whim, we went, and like it was almost sunset time too. So we're like, oh, it's gonna be tight. So look at me, I'm already like,
you're already reliving it.
Yeah, we get up there. I had to stand against the wall for like 10 minutes. Like I couldn't walk to the edge. Like, what's wrong? I was like, just give me a moment. Just give me a second. And like I slowly. Then they had like these little tables, like with chairs and stuff. Because I think they have like a cocktail hour and stuff at some days. So then I moved to the table. Like I had to make baby steps. Like, all right, I moved to the table. Okay, I can kind of see. Okay, let me let myself calm down. Then eventually, once I got myself, then I could go to the window and have more fun. But it took. I thought I was gonna be brave and not punk out.
Well, don't feel bad, because when I was younger, I used to go on roller coasters all the time, and I haven't been to an amusement park since like 2009, I want to say. But when I went, like, I was like, I don't know, I think I'm growing up to be a little bit of a bitch. Like, I don't fuck with it like I used to. I'm
really?
Like, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, because that's how my sister is now. Because they were always like, I was always the only one. No, me and my brother, we always stay back. Like I hold the bags and shit. Like I'll go play some games while y'all do that. I'm good. I don't care. Yeah. I used to hate class trips though.
Yeah, because you kind of like had to go.
There's so many times where I was in line and I said, fuck this, and walk right out of line, walk right past everybody. I'm Brittany. No, I don't care, yo. I don't care, because every time I tried to be brave, I lost my shit. Like,
yeah.
I lost
my brother was always, I was always just trying to follow my brother, and he all about that. I don't know if he still is, but he's all about, we used to want to go to that. We went to King's Dominion. It was like the highest roller coaster at the time and all that. Got on that joint, almost lost my shit.
Right. I think Shay's about that life, and that's not gonna
Somebody got to go with him.
Did I tell you how I went with him for one thing?
Oh, wow.
And I cussed him out in front of everybody on a cruise. I didn't mean to, but Shay knows me. Like, he just laughs at me. He knows, like, he knows how I am. Like, he doesn't take it serious. He was like rubbing my back and trying to calm me down.
Aww.
We were on the cruise and we went to the
Shay was
Bahamas.
like probably like 6 when this happened.
Oh my god. All right, so if he's 9 now, this was roughly 2.5 years ago. So yeah, maybe 7. He might have like just turned 7 kind of. Because we went in the summer and his birthday's in April. All right. So, yeah, we were on the Carnival cruise, and there's these water slides. I've never been on a water slide, like, because I've always been, like...
never been on a water
because
slide.
they look like... It looks like a fucking drop. I'm like, nah, yeah, thank you. So I'm like, I'm good. Like, I've been on a water slide, but never, like, one of the ones where you're just, like, solo. You gotta cross your arms. I'm not doing that. I'll go on the big raft shit, you know? Like, that type of stuff. Even that's kind of, like... I'm a punk, y'all. I'm sorry. But anyway, so, yeah, the other kids that were in our group, they were doing something with their mom. So it was just me and Shay. And the water slide, he's 7. And the water slide was so big. So I'm like, even like the climb up to the top of the water slide, like, we're already in the middle of the freaking ocean. And
see, you left that out. I'm not with that.
Yeah,
I ain't with the middle of the ocean. Yeah, I'm not with the ocean.
And the motherfucker's already swaying because of the winds and stuff. So it's already kind of swaying. So I can't stand on the ground and watch my baby go all the way up there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, maybe it won't be that bad. You know, maybe just be a little slide down. You know, maybe we'll be all right. So I didn't know what to do. I had to. It was either I, man up or I gotta watch him. Because I was just paranoid even about the weight up. Because it was a lot of people. Yeah. And then him just standing there by himself going all the way up. And he was just being a brat and didn't want to wait for other people. And I was just like, all right, yo. But I think this is going to be like the last time he could go before we got off the boat. So.
Yeah, you cussed your son out.
So we're going up, and it's just like the climb is forever. I start feeling it rocking back and forth, and I'm like, yo. Yeah. I didn't notice it was rocking until I got up there. So Shay told me the slide that would be the least traumatizing. And it didn't look too bad. So he wanted to go on the most dangerous one, of course. He's like, yeah, I'm getting on this one. I'm just like, what? His father is the same, like, his dad is the same way I am. Like, he ain't about that life either. So I don't know where he gets this. So, all right. So he goes down the slide. I pick my little punk slide. So I'm like, all right. So I get in. I'm like, okay, maybe this won't be so bad. So it starts off slow, right? So I'm just like, all right, we good. Maybe if I kind of, keep my feet to the side, I can like slow it down or something, right? That jump went down one hump with pew, like, yo, I couldn't even, I was trying to like hold the sides, something. I said, well, I'm gonna break my hand. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was trying to do anything to slow down. Then I just said, fuck it, I gotta just eat this. It lasted for so long. Like, I had time to really think about it. When is this gonna stop? When is this gonna be over? I'm still going. Oh my God, this is terrible. It was so fast. Like, oh my God, like my soul left my body. Like, so then I come out at the bottom and I jump up and Shay's like, hey, and I'm like, fuck you, Shay. So you imagine all the other people, like, especially all these white folks, all these other people just standing around and watching us, and they're just sitting lounging on the beach chair. And you see, like, everybody watches everybody come out, and I hop up, fuck you, Shay, to this little
7-year-old.
Yeah, and he's just laughing, and he just comes and pats me. He's just like, Mommy, I was shaking, yo. I was shaking so bad. Like, I had to sit down. I'm shaking. He's just rubbing my back. And I'm like, no. I was like, you said it wasn't that bad. You said it wasn't that bad. He's like, it's not. I was like, traumatized. That is hilarious. I'm traumatized. So, that's all. Like, I be trying, yo, and every time I don't handle it well. But I couldn't let my baby go alone. But so I'm proud of myself for doing it, but it was terrible. Next time, he will be waiting for someone else.
Thanks. All right. Let's get back on track. Let's get back on track. Okay. Where were we?
All right.
Explain the limbic system, right?
All right. So let's go back to the limbic system. I said it's the hippocampus and the amygdala are the two main parts, and I'm going to talk about the
amygdala.
I'm going to talk about the amygdala.
Amygdala. Yeah, that's an Amigos track.
Amygdala. The amygdala.
My hippocampus.
Hippocampus. All right.
All right.
Yeah. So the function of the amygdala came to the attention of emotion researchers I saw in 1939. So they were testing on monkeys, and they removed their amygdala, and once they did, they began to show bizarre patterns of behavior. So they became fearless, hypersexual, and they showed no emotion, or they became like irrationally aggressive. They weren't able to make the connection between memory and how they should respond emotionally without the amygdala intact. So emotion researchers have been working on mapping the neural connections that make up learning and memory formation in the amygdala. So suppressing or stimulating activity in the amygdala can influence the body's emotional reactions, as they found out. So, I mean, obviously they've probably done some human testing, but I couldn't find any information on that.
I mean, this out there, but we ain't.
I was looking. They ain't putting it out there. I mean, it's out there, but not out there for the public. You know, because I'm like, how y'all doing this? But like, all right. I mean, and there are people that agree to these things, but anyway, and I'm sure there's plenty more often than not people that don't agree to these things. But through this research, scientists have identified receptors in the amygdala that could help to develop new types of anti-anxiety drugs.
All right, so I guess it would be safe to say that the amygdala is responsible for our ability, like I was saying before, to access past and the future, and that's like the best tool for us to manage our emotions. So by doing this, I mean, they can either work for you or against you. It depends on an individual's emotional awareness, you know.
All right.
So review. Let's review some of the limbic system functions.
All right. So, in general, some of the limbic system functions include controlling emotions like anger and fear, regulating your eating, so hunger and thirst, you know, knowing when to stop eating, knowing when to eat, and, you know, knowing when you're thirsty, knowing when you're satiated, responding to responding to pain and pleasure, controlling the functions of the autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system is made up of like your pulse, blood pressure, breathing, arousals, kind of just subconscious things that we need to survive. Well, I don't know if we need arousal to survive, maybe. I don't know.
I think we do.
Sensing sexual satisfaction. So knowing when to stop. I guess those people with the sexual addictions. Controlling aggressive or violent behavior and responding to sensory information, especially the sense of smell. And the functions more specifically of the hippocampus, like you were just saying, that, you know, access to our past and future is a tool to help manage our emotions. Functions of the hippocampus include learning new skills from reward and punishment systems or reinforcement and failure. So kind of knowing if I do this, I can get this, or if I don't do this,
this will be the result of
me doing this, consequences, you know? I guess. You know, learning consequences of things are formed in there. So remembering from the past, I did this before, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So also forming short-term and long-term memories through consolidating information. So I guess that ties into that as well. Recognition of what's familiar versus what's new, and navigation or sense of direction. And once again, the tying together smells with specific memories.
Okay. So, like I was saying before, back on those like moral emotions, if we were to take like shame, for example, that's something that's tied to preventing us from repeating the same behavior that's harmful to others. However, the only thing that prevents us from being harmful to ourselves is our ability to recognize, access, and respond appropriately to change, to change in the behavior we exhibit. On another note, I was looking into some things like, you know, positive things about emotions, how they pertain to maintaining social bonds and their impact on society. We wear most of our emotions outwardly through facial expressions, change in body language. Our ability to perceive these social signals help shape society. So this is how empathy is possible, being able to place ourselves in other people's shoes, use our imagination, Emotions allow us to perceive other people's emotions and in turn tailor our interaction to make that person more comfortable, or if I'm an asshole, I make them more uncomfortable. This allows for society to emerge based on our interactions with others. I think that's important. And our running theme on this podcast is we're always talking about the effects of social media. It always comes back to that. And you miss a lot of these social cues.
True.
If I'm talking to somebody with my thumbs, I'm not seeing how they're reacting. I'm not getting the context of which things are saying. You ever had like a miscommunication in text message?
Like almost every day.
Yeah, pretty much, right? So emotions are a big deal in just communication. Communication is a running theme on this podcast. And I also want to point out one thing. I know I have. I think people get feelings and emotions mixed up. Feelings and emotions are different. Feelings feed emotions. So if you're feeling lonely, that leads to sadness. Sadness being the emotion that you're feeling. That you're feeling. Yeah, they're easy to get mixed up. They're easy to get mixed up.
Yeah, I want to look more into the difference. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but yeah, I want to see more examples.
All right. Your limbic system. You looked up some information on some ways to strengthen it.
Yeah.
To strengthen it. So.
Yeah, because I saw they were talking about. They were doing research study to create new anti-anxiety drugs. And I'm like, okay, but I'm sure there's natural ways too. Yeah. Always trying to push some fucking pharmaceuticals,
do some test
right? Always trying to get us on a pill. Yeah. All right. So some natural ways to assist in strengthening your limbic system are the use of essential oils. And I've always seen them around and I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, especially like at Whole Foods and stuff, they got a plethora. And I'm just like, okay, like I know, you can add some to
maybe. Just be expensive as hell at Whole Foods, bro.
But like, I know, you can add some just for the scent. Or, there's other ones like tea tree that are healing, but there's so many. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, what are all these for?
I love tea tree oil.
Yeah, it's the bomb.
I use that on my beard.
Yeah.
You smell like a mothball. You smell like what's it called? A mothball.
But like if you have a cut or something, put some tea tree oil on it. It's healing very quickly.
Really?
Yeah. When I had stitches on my thumb, I actually healed it too much, and it had a hard time getting the stitches out. Like I should have removed the stitches myself. Yeah, because it healed. It was too long of a wait. With me using the tea tree oil, it sped up the recovery. And aloe vera too, fresh from the plant. It's really great for burns and cuts to heal them up. And tea tree oil is a good disinfectant too. Anyway,
it smells like it,
don't it? Yeah. So, the essential oils can have a dramatic effect on the limbic system and how you feel, because, like I've said a few times, the sense of smell is a strong function in the limbic system. Tying the smells to memories and situations. So once again, just like thinking of the smell of your favorite meal and how it might remind you of family, or smelling gas indoors or smoke and being able to sense danger. The strong fragrances the oils hold can make their way into your bloodstream and travel directly through the blood-brain barrier very quickly. And once engaged, the sensors emit strong emotional signals. So based on the smell starting from your limbic system and spreading throughout the rest of your body to places like your heart and digestive tract, they can help lower your blood pressure. All right, so I'm saying it's a little mixed up.
Okay. Nah, go ahead.
All right, because I just want to reiterate that the limbic system controls the functioning of the autonomic nervous system, which includes your pulse and blood pressure. So if your blood pressure, say, is raising up to high levels, that can be dangerous from your emotions, getting frustrated about something or finding out some bad information that will hurt your heart.
Okay.
All these things can raise your blood pressure. And if you have these oils, whatever, oil that pertains to that function specifically, if it could help you calm down and lower your blood pressure, it's just all connected. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Okay.
It does. I hope it makes sense for everybody out there. But look it up. If you're interested, look this shit up on your own. Do some work. You can't do everything.
But yeah, so just like if you're a person that gets anxious very easily or overwhelmed very easily, maybe looking up an oil that pertains to lowering blood pressure would be good for you. Because I have an Apple Watch, and every time I'm like irritated or something happens that like my blood pressure shoots up, my watch is like, maybe you should try breathing. Like, shut up, bitch.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's funny because I'll know too. If I'm like irritated or something, I feel my heart rate go up. All of a sudden, I feel my watch click, and I'm like, it's probably telling me to breathe. Like, mind your business. Mind your fucking business. Mind your business, bitch. But yeah, that's interesting. That's probably something that would be good for me.
Yeah.
But new scientific evidence shows that inhaling essential oils may be one of the fastest ways to create physiological or psychological benefits, which include decreasing anxiety, anger, even fatigue. Fatigue. That might be a good one.
Yeah.
So, since most of us are dealing with anxiety, yeah, I know, fatigue, everybody, we're all tired, but we all seem to be very anxious as well.
Yeah.
So I looked up specifically which oils would help with anxiety. And some of the ones I saw were basil oil, lavender, bergamot, frankincense, and chamomile. But there were a bunch of other ones. These are just a few. But I want to start playing around with some of these and, seeing the outcome. I also saw for instance, there's so many different ones too, because for instance, lemongrass was one for lowering anxiety, but I hate the smell of lemongrass. It makes me nauseous. I don't know why. I just can't let it go. Yeah. So that would not be a good one for me.
I think it's whack. I think people hear essential oils and they think it's part of some mysticism.
Yeah, it's really not that
joint.
Deep.
It just gets discredited. There's no health benefits. If you're gonna be mad at something, I would say I can see people being more upset with crystals, healing crystals, than actual oils that. Yeah, I mean they I think they have an effect.
I want to say something about crystals too, because
I knew you would. I knew you would.
I'm not gonna get too deep about that, but I just want to say this one thing because somebody tried to add me on Facebook and I was looking at their profile and they were selling crystals. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking. They have all these random crystals next to each other, making necklaces and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you gotta really know which crystals you're putting next to each other too, because they all have different functions. That's just mixing a bunch of oils together and expecting, just some random outcome. You gotta know what you're putting next to each other and what energies you're putting next to each other. You might be fucking yourself up. You want to buy all these random crystals and not know which ones match with each other. So just be careful of that, especially if you're just purchasing crystals from wherever, know who you're purchasing them from, know which energies you're bringing into your house, and also look up what each crystal means and if they work well with each other, because you don't be walking around with these crystals throwing off your energy or making you imbalanced. So just a little bit of advice.
Just a little something. Yeah, definitely baited you into that. I know nothing about crystals.
I just got mad about this the other day, and I'm like, this motherfucker's selling, you don't even know what you're putting together. You're just selling people this, and you got 15 crystals in one necklace. I hope you know what all those mean. You about to have somebody around here tweaking out, But anyway, there's some crystals that are kind of universal, and I'm not, no, stop, selenite, but all right, listen, I'm done. So anyway, besides the use of essential oils, some other ways to keep your limbic system healthy are practicing deep breathing. I know for me, I breathe very shallow most of the time. I do not breathe deeply. I don't pay attention to it. I'm always kind of just...
always startled.
So deep breathing practices are very good just for calming and bringing attention to yourself and, being mindful of how you're feeling and all those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
Trying visualizations or guided imagery.
What is guided imagery? Is that like somebody?
It sounds really corny, but I've done it a few times and it's cool, but it sounds corny, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, all right, sit down, close your eyes. It's like kind of listening to somebody tell you what to do, which is helpful, especially if you can't really focus your mind enough to do it on your own. You have somebody sitting there and guiding you through it. It just sounds cheesy, just because of the stigma around it, but it is kind of fun.
Okay.
Those, like, imagine yourself walking into, the woods, and
you see your happy place.
You see an opening. You see waterfalls. You're enclosed in. There's vines everywhere. Now, go behind the little section. You see a secret cove behind the waterfall.
Cool. I'm leaving. I'm packing my shit up and leaving that section after somebody tell me this. I see a cove. I do not see a cove.
All I think about is, like, Zelda with the little the Zora people.
Oh yeah.
That little underwater jump.
Yeah, that jump was hard.
Heck yeah. Anyway, exercise, of course, and exercise is a really good one, because, like, thinking about how we always think about exercise, we think about just losing weight, and it has so many other benefits.
The psychological benefits of exercise, and like when you fatigue your body, your mind doesn't have much energy to be concerned with stuff that doesn't need to be on your mind in the present. So, like, you fatigue your body, it plays a good role in just you being able to assess what I need to be worried about and what I don't need to be worried about.
And it's like a meditation, because that's what they say during yoga. Like, you're so focused on the poses and stuff, you're just being in the moment, you're being present. And you're just taking that time to kind of quiet your mind and focus. And the same thing with just any type of exercise. You're just focused on that exercise. I mean, of course, sometimes you may be thinking of other things, but for the most part, you're, like you said, you're so tired, and you're just thinking about when is this set going to be over, or whatever. But yeah, meditation or guided meditation. Guided meditation is very helpful if you're not used to doing it, or if you just need a little help. Healing prayers or mantras. So having something you can kind of say to yourself, whatever you're dealing with. Maybe you want to help keep calm, or you're wishing for more abundance in your life. Just little, you can look these different mantras and things up online, or you can make up your own. But if you want help, how to form one, you can look online. But just the habit of just being mindful still, and being able to just silence all the nonsense in your mind is very helpful with being able to control your emotions.
You know what I want to do, yo?
What?
I want to do one of those sensory deprivation tanks, like where you're like just like floating in like saline fluid, and like it's just totally dark, quiet. You never realize, like, I'm never in a spot where it's completely silent.
Yeah.
Like, people are rarely just like in a dark place with their thoughts.
Right.
But like you were saying, I think it all boils down to trying to be present, trying to be aware, emotionally aware of yourself. That'll help you guide. That'll help you navigate through your emotions and through the physical, through the stuff that you might not have control over.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that's it for emotions.
Yeah, for the first general overview. Hope you guys could follow along and understand what we were saying. I think we did an okay job.
Well, let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know if we missed anything. I think we did bomb and shit. I think. Alright. But thank you for listening. We will be back before you know it.
Yes.
We have some things, like I said before, we do have some things in store for the end of the year. Thanks.
Let us know too, after listening, if you have any questions, or if you'd like us to elaborate on anything, or if you have any other ideas or different angles that we could come at emotions for our next episode. Because like I said, we wanted to look more into the different organs and how those play into emotions and their functions, like the stomach and the heart. And then we wanted to really find the difference between feelings and emotions. So if you guys have anything else that you think is clever, that you haven't really seen out there, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Start the conversation. Let's talk about emotions more. I don't think they get talked about enough.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we want to do with the podcast. We want to talk about some things. We love bullshitting, and we love shooting the shit, but we do want to talk about some things that we feel aren't addressed enough and should be spoken more.
Yes.
So again, appreciate all the love. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you.
Yes.
And till next time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye.